It is so nice that you're watching this next episode of how we make a star point, but this chapter is all about that second seam allowance. I really like to show you that second seam allowance. That second seam allowance, it's just a little bit of wiggle room, because sometimes when you assemble your star points together, they can become uneven, and that makes it very hard to get a beautiful circle around your piece. But how do we do that? Well, here it is. I already make the star points. But now we have to focus on that second seam allowance. What I do, I only trim from the paper that second seam allowance. Only from the paper, not from your fabrics. And it gives you a good idea what I'm doing. That was that second seam allowance. And now I mark it. I mark it with a regular pencil. I do a dotted line because that is much more precise and it's fast. And I number the point. It's number 5. My next step, and I know that is a scary point, the next step, I take the papers out of my piece. I don't need them. I only need the papers to make a star point, but not for assembling. We do have perfect 1/4 inch foots on our machines, or maybe we can adjust the needle position, so we don't need the papers in our seam. So this is what we have. We do have a perfect piece, and we do have that little bit of wiggle room when we assemble the pieces together, because in the ideal world it will turn out like this. But when it's not the ideal world, it will turn out like that. And when you have that little bit of wiggle room, it really makes a difference. Because I will show you here on the paper, imagine that this is your extra fabric that you see here, the red fabric. So what I do now, now I can make small adjustments without any problems, and I still will have a perfect circle. And I'll know, maybe not a huge amount, but you can see it really makes the difference, and you still can see that you do have that perfect circle and not a gap. I will show you on the templates that I really like to show you first. There is my second seam allowance. I'm right-handed, so I will hold her in my left hand, and you can see she is a little bit off. But now, if I do this, you can see it's in real now. I can make small adjustments without any problems, and I still will have that beautiful circle that I need. It is the same what you saw me doing on the paper with that red line of that second seam allowance. And I really like the 28mm rotary cutter from Alpha. It's not that they pay me for this, but I really like it because it is so much easier to maneuver. And now you can see, even when it's a little bit off here and here, you still have that beautiful curve without any problems. And that makes it so much easier to work. So again, what do? It is that second seam allowance that is important, because this is the ideal world. But this is maybe what happened. When the points are not very precise, that will happen. But now you have the ability to make a small correction, and you still have a perfect seam allowance around the piece. That's what I want to show you today. Thank you so much for watching this video.